Today's readings August 24th, 1 Samuel 16, Romans 14, Lamentations 1, and Psalm 32. We're going to spend some time in 1 Samuel 16. The Lord said to Samuel, "How long are you going to mourn for Saul? I've rejected him as king over Israel. Fill your horn with oil and go. I'm sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem because I've selected for myself a king from his sons." So here's the step. It's time for mourning is over. It's time to move forward. But Samuel asked the question, how can I go? Saul will hear about it and kill me. Right? Saul's still alive. The Lord answered, take a young cow with you. Say, I've come to sacrifice to the Lord. Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I'll let you know what you're to do. You're to anoint for me the one I indicate to you. Here's the plan. Here's the steps. Again, the whole picture is not there. Just take the first step. Right? We want our lives laid out. We want our days fully planned. And it's great to have plans, and in work days and all those, we need plans, but there needs to be that place in our life where we're waiting for, listening to the voice of God, and we're responding step by step. So what does Samuel do? Verse 4. Samuel did what the Lord directed. He went to Bethlehem. And everyone's afraid. Do you come in peace? In peace. I've come to sacrifice. Consecrate yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. He consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. When they arrived, Samuel saw Eliab, and he said, certainly the Lord's anointed is here. The Lord said to Samuel, do not look at his appearance or his stature, because I've rejected him. Humans do not see what the Lord sees. Humans see what is visible, but the Lord sees the heart. The way God picks, the way God works, the way God chooses, it's different. We're enamored with, enthralled by looks and height and fit and dress and all these different things that in the end don't matter. God's looking at the heart. He's calling a man, he's calling a woman, and it's not based on outward appearance. It's based on the heart condition before the Lord. How's your heart before the Lord today? Are you in a place and position where the Lord would call you to do something? You don't have to have the excuses. You just have to have the heart. So he goes through all the sons, and no. And so he asks the question there in verse 11, are these all the sons you have? Well, they're still the youngest, but he's tending the sheep. Like he's an afterthought. He's out there with the sheep. Samuel told Jesse, send for him. We won't sit down to eat until he gets here. So Jesse sent for him, and he had beautiful eyes and a healthy, handsome appearance. You're like, isn't that the opposite of what we're supposed to be focused on? Why is that emphasized? Why is that talked about? Good question. But don't know. And the Lord said, anoint him. He is the one. So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers, and the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully on David from that day forward. Samuel set out and went to Ramah. As the Spirit of the Lord comes upon David, the next verse says, the Spirit of the Lord had left Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord began to torment him. And it makes this divergent path in the history of Israel. One where there was to be a king, because that's what they had pled for, and they asked for, and they longed for, and they got one who started off well, Saul, but who turned from the Lord, and so the Lord allowed him to continue on that path, and to see the outcome of it, while at the same time raising up David, a man after his own heart. A man who's learning what it means to be king, not in a throne room, not in a boardroom, but out with sheep. Learning what it means to trust God completely, for protection, for guidance, for companionship. And we see that all throughout the Psalms, as David cries out to God, not just during those seasons when he was a shepherd, but as he's on the run from Saul later. And so this one chapter sets in motion all kinds of things in the life of David and of Saul, and for the nation to come. And when you look at it, you think, man, it's hard to know what is it that we are to take away from it. Like, well, don't be like Saul, be like David, right? Like, that's kind of where we often go. And there's always more to it when you look at stories like this and stories in the Old Testament. Like, how does this point us to Jesus? Where do we see Jesus looking and working in this situation? That's what we want to be focused on. That's what we want to search for in passages and stories of the Old Testament. And so here, the Spirit of God comes on David from that day forward. Set apart for the things God has called him to do. It doesn't mean things are going to be easy. It's going to be a while before he's actually king. Until that day, he's going to walk with the Lord. He's going to learn. He's going to grow. He's going to mature in the faith, even in the midst of opposition and tribulation. Until next time, keep growing, little by little.